Day 1. You wake up on a stone floor in a London slum. You breathe in coal dust. You stand up. You walk outside. The street is full of mud and human waste. People walk past you. No one speaks. You arrive at the factory. The iron gate is open. A guard stands by the entrance. You walk inside. The factory floor is loud. Giant steam engines power the machines. Iron gears spin rapidly. You take your place at the mechanical loom. You pull the heavy iron lever. The machine starts moving. You feed raw cotton into the spinning gears. The machine pulls the threads tight. Dust fills the air. A foreman walks down the aisle. He carries a wooden cane. He watches the workers closely. The foreman stops behind you. He strikes your shoulder with the cane. He yells at you to work faster. You pull the lever again. The gears spin faster. The metal becomes dangerously hot. Steam hisses from the pipes. Boiling water drips onto the floor. You step back to avoid the water. It is noon. A loud bell rings. The machines slow down. You stop pulling the lever. You walk to the eating area. It is a dark room with long wooden tables. You sit on a bench. A cook hands you a wooden bowl. It contains a thin gray liquid with 2 pieces of potato. You eat the liquid with a wooden spoon. It is cold and tastes like dirt. You finish it quickly. A man walks into the room. He is the factory owner. He wears a clean black suit. The owner lights a thick cigar. He looks at the workers with disgust. He does not speak to anyone. The owner exhales cigar smoke. He turns around and leaves the room. The lunch break is over. You return to the machine. You pull the iron lever. The gears start spinning again. Your arms ache from the repetitive motion. You push the cotton into the machine. The noise hurts your skull. A gear gets stuck. The machine stops. The foreman looks in your direction. You reach into the machine. You pull a jammed piece of wood from the gears. The machine restarts instantly. The iron gear strikes your hand. It crushes the bone in your right index finger. You pull your hand back. The foreman walks over. He looks at your broken finger. He tells you to use your left hand. You pull the lever with your left hand. Your right hand hangs by your side. You continue working. Night falls. The factory bell rings. The shift is over. You leave the machine. You walk to the paymaster's desk. You stand in a long line of workers. You wait for your money. You step up to the desk. The paymaster hands you 3 copper coins. He writes a mark in his book. You walk out of the factory. The street is dark. Street lamps burn with dim gaslight. You walk to a local tavern. The sign above the door is broken. You open the heavy wooden door. The tavern is crowded. Workers sit at small tables. The air smells like sweat and cheap alcohol. You put 1 copper coin on the bar. The bartender gives you a wooden cup filled with dark beer. You drink the beer. It is sour and warm. You put the empty cup on the wooden counter. You walk to a food stall outside. A man sells old bread. You hand him your 2nd copper coin. He gives you a small loaf of hard bread. It has mold on the bottom. You put it in your pocket. You walk back to the slum. The streets are empty now. Rats run across the cobblestones. You enter your building. The stairs are broken and wet. You climb to the top floor. You enter a large room. 50 other workers are inside. There are no beds. Thick ropes are stretched across the room. You pay your last coin to the man at the door. You stand next to a rope. You lean forward and rest your chest on the rope. This is how you sleep. Day 2. You wake up, your back is stiff, the rope leaves a deep mark on your legs. The man at the door unties the ropes. The workers fall to the floor. It is time to leave. You walk outside. It is raining heavily. The mud is deep. You walk toward the factory. You arrive at the gate. A sign says no more workers are needed today. The guard pushes you away. You have no job. You walk toward the edge of the city. You need to find work. You see a large hole in the ground. It is a coal mine. Carts of black rocks are pulled by horses. You walk to the mine overseer. He sits at a wooden table in the mud. You ask for work. He gives you a heavy iron pickaxe. He points to the mine shaft. You walk toward the dark tunnel. You step into an iron cage. 5 other men step in next to you. The cage door closes. A steam engine lowers the cage. It drops rapidly into the deep shaft. It is completely dark. The cage hits the bottom. The iron door opens. You step out into a wet, black tunnel. You hold a small oil lantern. The light barely cuts through the black dust. You walk deeper. The tunnel ceiling is low. You crawl on your hands and knees. The ground is flooded with cold water. You reach the coal face. You swing the heavy iron pickaxe against the black rock. Sparks fly. You strike the wall again and again. Chunks of coal fall to the muddy floor. Your arms burn. A young boy pushes a wooden cart. He stops next to you. You load the heavy rocks into the cart. The boy pushes the full cart away. You continue hitting the wall. Breathing is difficult in the dust. Water leaks from the ceiling. It drips constantly. Your clothes are completely soaked in cold, dirty water. A wooden support beam cracks under the weight of the earth. Dirt falls on your head. You ignore it. You see a small yellow bird in a cage. It is a canary. It suddenly stops moving. The bird is dead. Bad gas is filling the tunnel. The foreman shouts a warning. You drop the pickaxe. You turn around and run toward the cage. You do not look back. You crawl through the narrow tunnel quickly. The gas makes the air thick. Your vision blurs. You reach the iron cage. You step inside with the other men. The door slams shut behind you. The cage is pulled up. You hear a loud explosion below. Fire shoots up the shaft. The cage reaches the surface. You step out. The mine is destroyed. You are unemployed again. The overseer hands you 2 copper coins for your work. You walk away from the smoking hole. You walk back into the city. The sky is dark with smog. Rain starts to fall heavily again. You enter a butcher's shop. Dead animals hang from iron hooks. The smell of rotting meat is strong. You put your 2 coins on the bloody wooden table. You point to a pile of bones and fat. The butcher wraps the scraps in an old newspaper. He hands it to you. You put it in your pocket. You walk down a narrow alley. A man lies dead in the mud. Nobody stops to look at him. Men load bodies onto a wooden cart. A sickness is spreading through the slums. Cholera takes many lives. You arrive at your building. The landlord waits by the door. He holds out his hand for rent. You have no money left. The landlord pushes you away from the door. You are locked out. You walk the streets at night. You find a dry spot under a stone bridge. You sit down. You take the newspaper package from your pocket. You eat the raw fat and bones in the dark. Day 3. You wake up under the bridge. The river next to you smells like chemical waste. You stand up. You need to find a new job. You walk to the docks by the river. Massive wooden ships are tied to the stone pier. Men carry heavy wooden crates onto the ships. You walk up to a sailor. He gives you a thick rope. You join a line of men pulling a heavy crate. You pull the rope with all your strength. The wooden crate slowly slides up the wooden ramp. The wood splinters slice your hands. You keep pulling. The crate is safely loaded onto the ship. You carry sacks of grain on your back. Each sack weighs 50 pounds. You walk up a narrow plank. You slip on the wet wood. You fall into the dirty river. The heavy sack pulls you down. You let go of the sack. You swim to the surface. You climb up the slippery stone wall of the pier. The sailor yells at you for losing the grain. He hits you with a rope. He tells you to leave. You are wet and cold. You walk aimlessly. You see a large brick building. It is a workhouse. You knock on the heavy door. A man in a gray coat opens it. He lets you inside. The walls are bare brick. The rules are strict. You are given a coarse gray uniform. You are sent to a courtyard. You are handed a heavy iron hammer. You must break large rocks into small stones. You swing the hammer. The rock shatters. Pieces of stone hit your face. You do not stop. Other men sit next to you. They look like skeletons. They silently break rocks in the cold yard. A guard watches from a wooden tower. He holds a rifle. He makes sure no one stops working. Your hammer handle is broken. It is covered in dried blood. You keep swinging. You work for 10 hours. The bell rings. You drop the heavy hammer to the ground. You walk into a large dining hall. You sit at a long wooden table. You are not allowed to speak. A guard places a tin cup of water and a slice of stale bread in front of you. You eat the bread quickly. It is as hard as wood. You drink the cold water. You are sent to a sleeping hall. There are wooden coffin-like boxes on the floor instead of beds. You lie down inside a wooden box. A guard turns off the gas lamp. Total darkness falls. Day 4. A loud whistle blows. You wake up inside the wooden box. Your bones ache from the hard floor. You march in a straight line to the workyard. Hundreds of men walk in silence. No one looks up. Today you unpick old ropes. You must separate the fibers by hand. The rough tar shreds your skin. You pull the fibers for hours. Your fingers bleed onto the old rope. A pile of loose hemp grows slowly. An overseer inspects your pile. He kicks the pile. He says you did not work fast enough. He grabs you by the collar. He drags you to a small brick building in the corner of the yard. He throws you inside a dark cell. It is the punishment room. He locks the heavy iron door. You sit in total darkness for 24 hours. There is no bed, no window, and no food. The door opens. The overseer points to the street. You are expelled from the workhouse. You walk out the main gate. The heavy wooden doors close behind you. It is snowing heavily outside. You find an old broken broom in an alleyway. You take it. You walk to a wealthy neighborhood. You become a crossing sweeper. You stand at an intersection covered in deep horse manure and mud. A luxurious horse carriage approaches. You quickly sweep the mud away to create a clean path. A wealthy man steps out of the carriage. His shoes stay clean. He walks past you. You hold out your skeletal hand, you beg for a coin. The man drops a single penny into the mud. You kneel down in the freezing mud to pick up the coin. Your fingers are numb from the cold. 3 street orphans run towards you. They have sticks. They hit you and snatch the coin from your hand. You lie in the snow alone. The broom is broken in half. You have nothing. You stand up. You walk toward the River Thames. The tide is low. The riverbed is exposed. You become a mudlark. You step into the thick, black, toxic sludge. It reaches your knees. The smell is unbearable. It is a mix of industrial chemicals and human waste. You dig with your hands. You pull a piece of rusty iron from the mud. You wipe the sludge off on your rags. A dead dog floats past you in the murky water. You ignore it and keep digging in the mud. You find a copper nail and a broken glass bottle. You put them in your pocket. You walk to the scrap dealer. His shop is a shack near the docks. You place the items on his scale. He gives you a half penny. It is worthless. You walk away with your head down. A man with a face black with soot grabs your arm. He is a master chimney sweep. He sees you are small and thin. He drags you toward a wealthy neighborhood. You cannot resist. You arrive at a massive townhouse. The sweep takes you inside through the servant entrance. You stand in front of a grand fireplace in the drawing room. The bricks are black with creosote. He hands you a wire brush. He pushes you violently into the dark fireplace opening. You climb into the chimney. The space is exactly the width of your shoulders. You scrape against the rough bricks. You inch your way up. It is pitch black. Thick soot falls directly into your eyes and mouth. You cannot breathe. The air is toxic. You scrape the walls with the wire brush as you climb. Your elbows bleed. The bricks tear your rags. You force your body higher up the narrow tube. You reach the top. You push your head out of the chimney pot. Cold air hits your face. You see the endless gray rooftops of London. Thousands of chimneys pump black smoke into the sky. You start to climb back down. The descent is harder. Your foot slips on the smooth soot. You become wedged in a narrow bend. The bricks press tightly against your chest. You cannot move. You panic. You push against the walls with all your strength. A brick suddenly comes loose. You fall straight down the dark shaft. You plummet 20 feet in a cloud of black dust. You crash onto the iron grate at the bottom of the fireplace. The impact breaks your left leg bone. You lie in a pile of black soot on the rich carpet. The master sweep yells at you. The wealthy owner runs into the room. He is furious about the dirty carpet. He orders you out. The sweep grabs you by the arm. He drags you across the floor and out the back door. He throws you into the alley. He refuses to pay you. He slams the door. You lie in the freezing mud with a broken leg. You cannot walk. Snow covers your body. A wooden cart with wooden wheels approaches. It is the parish ambulance. 2 men pick you up. They throw you onto the hardwood of the cart. It bumps over the cobblestones. The pain is severe. They bring you to a charity hospital. The building smells like rot and iodine. They carry you inside. You are placed on a dirty metal bed in a crowded ward. Men around you cough blood. The air is stagnant. A doctor wearing a leather apron approaches. The apron is covered in old, dried blood. He holds an iron saw. He looks at your broken leg. He does not use medicine to numb the pain. He raises the saw. He quickly cuts through the bone. The pain is absolute. You do not scream because you have no lungs. The amputation is done. The doctor wraps dirty bandages around the stump. He moves to the next bed immediately. You lie completely still for 3 days. There is no food, only a cup of dirty water. A nurse approaches on the 4th day. She tells you that you must leave. The hospital is full. She hands you a crude wooden crutch. You place it under your arm. You stand up slowly on one leg. You hop out of the hospital into the cold rain. You have one leg, no money, and no lungs. You lean against a brick wall. The rich pass by in their warm carriages. The system continues. You do not matter.